Okay, we're live now. Just waiting for the wajid still to come.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What time did Abu Wajid say he's coming?
I don't know, I tried calling him, his phone busy.
Okay, we're live now. But it's not picking up the mic.
Oh, you're not picking up?
I think it's from the camera. Can you check it again? Let me I'll disconnect the Bluetooth because I've only got one headphone. Yeah.
It's another big one.
I think there's like a loop. What's that sound?
I don't know.
I think because we're playing it at the same time.
No, I'm not playing it.
You switch it off for a second. We're playing it at the same time.
No, I'm not playing it.
You switch it off. No, it's not picking up the actual mics. I'm not sure. Have you turned the volume up on the mics? Turn the volume up down of the mics that are not being used.
Oh, you don't use. So
There's two. There's how many plugged in? There's 4 plugged in.
No, yeah, but I turned on the one that's not being used down there.
Yeah, and also his one as well. Turn it down. He's not using it. Wa alaikum salam, brother. The audio could be better.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear that? I've turned both mics on.
I think the mine is off. Testing. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. Mine's good. Okay. Strange. Has a mind of its own. Speaking of what, it's doing the
The other one, the other camera.
Let me just do the. Now do the same thing with the audio. There's a button. Let me just. How to teach you everything, man.
What is this? Why this on? This is on.
Off. There's nothing plugged in here.
No, no. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Testing.
I can hear you. Better?
Assalamu alaikum. Testing the mics. One final time. Assalamu alaikum.
That's good. Testing the mics. And I'm testing as well. So you probably get sick of this every week. And I'm testing as well. Yeah, perfect. That's good now.
Perfect.
Now it's good. So next time, add it in your workflow.
Yep.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Assalamu alaikum, Hamza bin Adam. Ahlan wa sahlan.
It's something we learn together right now.
And I'm teaching. No, it happened last week. You forgot. It's supposed to be a repository of
all right.
information and wisdom and
Let me take a photo.
experience. Yeah, just take a it's just a few button switches, and I think because we unplugged the camera and plugged it back in, that's probably why. Anyway, I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome. How's your week been?
Alhamdulillah, my week's been good. How has yours been?
Yeah, busy, very, very busy. Yeah, dealing with dealing with human beings, dealing with the ummah,
MashaAllah.
the ummah that has accepted the da'wah and the one that hasn't dealing it. What's wrong with people? Like, why can't people be nice?
So you still get people who come after your lecture, Juma lecture, to give you some.
No. Alhamdulillah, I did Jummah PGCC
Oh,
this
mashallah.
week, and it was on dua.
Oh, mashallah.
And we need a lot of dua at the moment. So it was, as Muslims, we need a lot of dua. And it was just explaining, there's a few epiphanies in the dua that when we're making dua, we are very unfocused.
Yes.
And what we bring into dua is problematic because I've always seen dua, we bring problems, whether it be problems of akhirah or problems of dunya, things that we need to get solved, right? That's what we're asking. We can't do it ourselves. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But sort of the few topics that were covered in Jummah was one, it was about dua, but dua, how we ask, not what we're asking for. That's also important, but also how we ask and how the Anbiya alayhim salam asked. One of my teachers said that, I was quoting him in the Jummah, he said, we give orders to Allah. Ya Allah, give me this, give me that, give me this, give me this, give me this, like we're giving orders. And Ya Allah, if you don't do this, then this will happen, There's that, astaghfirullah. You've heard people probably say things like that. That Ya Allah, if you don't do this for me, then, yeah. So they're putting like conditions. It's not really a dua. And then on top of that, the dua is made, when you're making dua to Allah, we should be more affected by Allah. That's why we order in the Quran to ask by His beautiful names. So that His name should be repeated and said so many times that the effect of our problem is diminished. The problem is one thing, but the effect of the problem is diminished. Sorry, I just got to sneeze. The problem of our should be diminished, and like the problem should be lesser than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's greatness.
Yes.
Number one, and also like we should not be, obviously pain and difficulty and problems are the ones that bring us to dua and humble us. But then like when we're talking to Allah and we're calling by His name over and over, like a Nasir, the helper.
Yes.
Or the Al-Ghalib, the one who overcomes, who overwhelms. Qahar, like these are names of His power, right? So if we are making dua against our enemies and the enemies of Islam and the Ummah, then we should say the enemy so much, like the name of Allah so much that the enemy becomes nothing, becomes like a mosquito, like a fly.
Okay.
That's how we should, like its effect. The Al-Qahar and Al-Fatih, the one who gives victory and opens up conquests, and the one who, so we're calling on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the repeating of the name should be so much in our du'as, calling by, because He orders us to call Him by His names. So whatever we need it for, like the one who enriches and the one who gives honor and the one who gives humiliation. When you're asking Allah, humiliate this enemy of ours and weaken them, right? Of the ummah, the one who's causing harm to the ummah, whether it be Zionist or whatever it is, whatever the entity might be, then we make dua, raise our hands and ask Allah. But it should be, the name of Allah should be called so much that the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be called so much that that thing should become irrelevant.
Yes, like nothing.
Nothing. And it is nothing.
Yes.
The reality is that it actually is nothing.
So
like Ar-Razzaq, the one who gives rizq, that we should call Allah by His name Ar-Razzaq so much that until the heart only sees its rizq coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not affected by the things of this world. So this is like a very, but that means that you make the dua, but it's not like scatterbrained or like here and there. It's like totally focused to Allah, and the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's greatness is more overpowering and dominant in your dua than it is than the actual thing that you're making dua against or for or whatever. Yeah.
So one thing, like for me, I like on a personal level, we struggle like having that continuity, concentration with every dua that you make. So as how does a person improve that? Because having that every time you make dua, that having that full concentration.
Yeah, I mean, it's not possible to have the same every time. Obviously, levels of comfort. So, you're living the high life at the moment. So it's very easy, very hard to, for you to concentrate. You comfort, you're in ghaflat. And then when you are not in ghaflat, you are in difficulty, then of course that makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be uncomfortable. So it kind of forces you to, to make dua more. Obviously, the discomfort we're feeling, whatever discomfort we might be feeling, it's more superficial than real problems people have around the world, I guess. So, but regardless, problems are problems, discomfort is discomfort, and hence we've been given this weapon, the weapon of dua, pray and ask Allah. It's not some shot in the dark. It's done with so much certainty and yaqeen that, like, oh yeah, this is actually what's the key that's going to solve my problem. Yeah, I'll do the actions, pray and ibadah and so forth, and then along with that, I'll do dua. And like we've sort of reduced it, and it's almost looked down upon. People just pray. Like you hear these statements, dua is no, because Allah tells me to make dua, I'll make dua, and Allah tells me to act, and I'll act. But to say that dua is like reducing it to, sort of nothing, that's kind of dangerous actually for our iman. That if we do believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then we are ordered by Him to make dua for our needs of this world and hereafter, then I'm obliged to understand that whatever the problem might be, the issue might be, dua is the solution.
Yes.
Salat, praying 2 rakat salat and turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is like the ultimate solution, above all solutions, right? So we should, it's a weapon of a believer, right? Like I get it. I know the people that do these Islamophobia things, that's a very hard thing to gauge. Obviously, overt Islamophobia, hidden Islamophobia, where somebody might not give you a job promotion or, become an obstacle in your path to progress in your job or whatever, or maybe deprive you an opportunity, ultimately Allah is the one who provides. If they try that, somebody tries that, you're not going to catch that. But someone overtly is violent or threatening, yeah, you have to deal with it like any other threat. But I feel like the Muslims, we need to arm ourselves with dua. We need to arm ourselves with dua to connect the one whose deen that we're trying to practice. Like we shouldn't be weak.
Yes.
Allah doesn't like a weak. Allah likes a strong Muslim. And if we're taking our strength from Allah, meaning we're taking His help, then subhanallah, like Islamophobia, I guess people that are maybe weak, that have been targeted, like women and so forth, that's understandable. But in general, as a whole society, that we disarm ourselves, or act like, like the victim sort of, maybe the victim sort of mindset. I think we have to be very careful of that, because it's kind of counterintuitive to our deen in terms of Allah is the all-powerful and Allah is the one who does. When He's brought into the equation or anything, then it changes everything.
Subhanallah.
Yeah. I think that's very, very important for a Muslim that I know it's not a dars or whatever, but I feel like that we are, that the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our statements and our works is diminished. Like it's diminished. I'm just, with all the people I've been interacting, that all the talk that's happening, all the things, I think we have to be very careful that we don't diminish the power of Allah in our works. Actually, we're supposed to say that our work is nothing and Allah is the one who does. All the results are in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To the point that we negate our efforts, negate the efforts of all creation. And we should be scared of anybody. I mean, alhamdulillah, Muslims are not. Most Muslims are not. But we should not be a victim. I think it's very, very important. Muslims, there are real victims, obviously, what's happening overseas. But I think even in that, you see Muslims like strength.
Coming out.
Because if it's about Allah and connection to Allah, then that's a very different thing that you're dealing with. Like we're not dealing with I was just teaching the hadith before. Ad-dunya sijnul mu'mini jannatul kafir. Dunya is the prison this world is a prison for the believer, for the mu'min. And it's a jannah of the kafir. And the commentary explained that a kafir, disbeliever, because he made the purpose of his life this world, then he's trying to extract all the enjoyments and luxuries and all the resource, everything. He's trying to extract everything out of this world because he has no akhirah to work towards.
Yes.
While a mu'min, for him to meet Allah in the hereafter is the ultimate goal, and that Allah is happy with me. So this dunya is like just like he's stuck here. Is a prison. It is a prison. The Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says the hadith in Sahih Muslim. It's an authentic hadith narration. It's a prison. So if someone who lives in this world, his worldview is that this is a jail, or it's suffocating like a jail, relatively compared to Jannah, obviously.
100%.
Right. So his worldview in the way, and then you got a kafir who thinks this is Jannah. Yeah. And then this is the place where all his desires are going to be satisfied and everything. He's got to maximize his extraction of enjoyments and luxuries of this dunya. They are like two different human beings, two different priority. Their priority looks totally different. They both might shop at Woolworths or whatever supermarket, Aldi's or whatever, but their attitude and worldview is entirely different. You know, they cannot be the same person. Like, you know, they're not the same person. So if this Muslim's view, and that applies in all cases, in all situations. So wallahu alam.
Yeah. So you mentioned you mentioned that, you know, people order like, Allah, if you don't do this, then this will happen, you know. So when I was growing up, we used our elders, our grandmothers used to say, you know, like make dua, like, Allah, if I pass my exams, I'll fast for 3 days or fast.
No, nazar, that's allowed. That's a
okay.
promise. That's perfectly fine. It's a good thing, but you're obliged. You know, sort of like, you know, sort of you create it's like creating a contract with Allah Subhanahu wa Taala in specific
and you have
matter.
to do it.
That's fine. You have to fulfill that. That's all good. That's not a problem. And even asking for your needs is a good thing. Even for the smallest thing, we're instructed to ask even for shoelaces and I thought it was Abdul Wajid outside. It's a motorbike. I was like, what is he droning on about? But anyway, so yeah, it's good. Like, it's good to ask. It's good to ask, and you should ask for everything, right? And should see only the benefit only coming from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. It's just that I feel like that is so lacking, that we're overwhelmed with all the news.
Yeah.
That we don't even, that it's so overwhelming that we are not even have the time, and we forget that all of this is in the control of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So we have to call on Him so much by His names, specific to this thing, that the one who, the Nasir, the helper,
so I think, like,
to the point that nobody, like, the effect of whatever army and nations and bodies that are or politicians that are being complacent, nothing is outside the control of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. But we have to rise up to what Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala level. Yeah, we started. We're talking about dua. Assalamu alaikum. We're in the middle of it. We're already at the end of it, actually. The dua part, yeah.
So, like, you know, the way you say that.
Didn't you been listening on the way? You should be listening on the way so you catch up. This is the slackness, you know. This is this lack of discipline. Allah help you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Huh? Yeah, you should be listening. You should be aware of. You should be telling everybody to press the bell icon and subscribe. His mic is not on.
Assalamu alaikum. You didn't even text me to say you started.
You should know. You should be aware.
8:45.
Your notification should be telling. Anyway, let's keep going. So dua. So the dua should be made to such a level, and the names of Allah should be called at such a level that no effect of, you know, like I was just explaining about the Islamophobia thing, that we shouldn't really like
don't fall into it.
What?
Islamophobia.
Yeah, like it's you have to be careful. I get it. There are cases, but we have to be careful that defines us. Islamophobia should not define the Muslim, because if that defines us, because most Muslims are very strong,
mashallah,
and very confident, and they're not worried about Islamophobia. Like
the new generation, have you talked about that?
Yeah, new generation. We'll talk about them after, because I've done something to say about the new generation. But like most Muslims are not intimidated, right? You know, like if like what's your understanding of Islamophobia?
I think it's not about intimidation, but it's more somebody having racism. Or racism is not, you know what I mean?
Someone says something?
Yeah, someone says something that hurts your feelings. Or someone says something that's derogatory against.
Is that
Muslims.
a specific, like a new thing, like in the last 10 years? I get it. It's sort of after last 10, 15 years.
Combat the same terms of anti-Semitism or, you know, things like that. Well, Islamophobia, we're copying it as well.
Yeah.
So because the focus.
But is that a good thing that we lean into that? like the victim sort of? Is it victim, or
I think
is it more that like we're trying to get the state and society to move that it's unacceptable?
I don't think it's so much the victim mentality, but I think it's more about saying, hey, this exists.
Yeah.
Everybody's complaining that, hey, we're doing it hard.
Yeah.
But you know what? Muslims have been facing this for, decades.
Yeah.
This exists. This is real. And we're not putting up with it anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's more towards that rather than the victim mentality. There are some people that may cry poor
Yeah.
with Islamophobia. But then on the flip side, there are people that are saying, okay, this exists. Right. This has to stop. And they're the ones that I take my topi off to.
Yeah, but like someone, is it that pervasive? I don't think in Australia generally.
No, I don't.
And how do you even pinpoint it? If someone, for example,
I don't think Islamophobia is pervasive, or was no. I let me rephrase it. I think it was pervasive.
but was it Islamophobia or just racism?
I think it was racism.
Yeah, I don't think it was Islamophobia.
It's just
There are people who hate Islam always, and they're
No,
and
but
Muslims.
even when you go like for
So
example,
even after the September 11th, there was no backlash of Islam.
no, there was
So that's-
after September 11th.
Bali was
definitely.
even more worse.
Yeah, we copped it.
yeah.
I remember we copped it.
Yeah.
so that was
However, you just copped it on the chin and just went, let's move on. What are you
Yeah,
gonna
yeah, we were just so used to
Right.
it. Like
What are you gonna do?
so, but that was Islam, or then
it wasn't like we were like bowing our heads and like
But
there
some
were
people were.
organizations
There were
organizations where they were sucking up. And I remember I just mentioned the narration about the du'as. I remember after September 11 around those times, and in the immediate aftermath. So there's a narration like dua is a weapon of a believer.
Yeah.
That not to say it's a weapon of a believer. So
There was heaps of
so
self-censoring.
it was like it's a tool of the believer.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You know,
And there was
you can't say weapon. You know,
There was a
it's
lot of
dua. It's a
self-censoring.
prayer. Is the
Even Muslims, there was a lot of self-censoring.
yeah.
Oh, don't say that. You can't say that. Don't this. Don't do that. So there was a lot of that. And I think
was that just because we faced a backlash like from
we were scared.
or
What's
so-
going to happen?
I
But
think
it was fear of the unknown
Ah.
because at the end of the day, and I think also it was lack of education because we were that generation
Mm.
comes from a time of not superiority or inferiority complex. That's the wrong word, I suppose. But it was more about don't rock the boat.
Mhm.
Just go through it because we've got to pay our bills. We need the job. We need the degree.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
More of
But then we realized, no,
We need
that's
to
a
fit in
given.
the
That's actually
society.
our right.
yeah.
If you work hard, it's your right to have a good job. You know, if you can get a good job or you can get into university, all of these things.
Mhm.
And I think the new generation don't have the shackles of Islamophobia,
Mm.
and they can be absolute. Let's use a different, not nice sometimes.
Yeah.
However, there was other words.
Yeah.
There were so many words that filtered, and I was like, "This is live. Molana's gonna not be happy with this, right?" However, at the same time, they got some big ones, mate. They're good. Like they do stick up for what they believe in, and they don't put up with it.
Yeah.
Which is males and females, men and women.
Yeah.
It's that thing I've got to take my hat off to.
I think he's going to take the hat off the previous generation because they took it on the chin, and they
We
like
copped it, like
created
us.
a space. They created a space, like mate, like you can just be. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not every community, but it's just like they created this. The previous generation, our generation, I guess, with the previous generation.
You want to take your topic off to yourself?
Yeah, and so like no, they went through the rough thing. Like
did.
now, like there is a generation they're in their 20s.
Think about high school.
Just think about this. There's 22-year-olds that were born after September. 23-year-olds. They're born
Yeah.
after September 11. I mean, that's how far back September 11 is. So they're in their 20s. There's some of them married. Their kids.
They've never seen it. They never felt the backlash.
They're young adults. They were born after the time, or even if they were like kids, like 3-4 years old. They're like 30 now. They were part of the stuff.
And
So in a way, like
the racism at school, even before September 11,
yeah,
just being a different color, they missed all that.
yeah, yeah.
I see kids now, like in some schools, it's like spot the Aussie,
yeah,
for
yeah,
one of
yeah.
a better
Spot
term, spot the white
person.
guy,
Yeah.
spot the white guy, or
Yeah.
there's no, the N word. If somebody that is not black use that word, he's finished.
Yeah, yeah.
But back when I was growing up, that's what
Yeah,
somebody
that
that
was
is
a-
not
yeah,
black
yeah, that
used
was-
against us.
Exactly. It was rough.
Right, like,
Yeah.
and you know,
It was rough.
You're fighting every day,
Hold me.
and then
I'm getting flashbacks.
Then imagine why
Used to hide somewhere.
imagine country South Australia.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Wow,
Yeah, we were 1100 street, 3 Muslims. I mean, we mentioned this before, but you know, it's a very different, like, it's a different experience
It's a
now.
different
Yeah, it's a different world now.
like these guys get act up. He said this word, and it hurt
I
my
feel sorry that there's
hurt my
very few
feelings.
white people.
No,
I
it's
feel
like
sad for them.
some of these guys when they talk about and they get upset about, oh, he said this word, that word. I'm like, that's all he said to you, and you cut about this.
Yeah.
Like, are you serious? Don't be so precious. Move on.
Yeah.
Like, do you understand the word? It's
So I-
inappropriate, but some of the stuff that was said, like that was said to me.
Yeah.
If I repeated that, people would be in shock.
I think
But you had to fight back.
I think there was general insensitivity. There was generally, I think it's gone too much the other way. And I feel like training the Muslims in Islamophobia, like, it depends on what it is. Is it we're training Muslims to be weak, like in a certain way, like without realizing it? Like we sort of, like,
Harden up, princess.
we're constantly like,
No, I don't think that's the case.
stressing on the Muslim, like is it really?
I don't think that's the case. I think this training about Islamophobia, this focus on this Islamophobia, as long as people aren't.
So how do you define like casual racism and
casual racism is an Aussie way of life.
Yeah, I think a lot of casual racism might not be.
But
It might be Islamophobic based on the new definitions or the new attitudes that are
yeah,
coming.
but the thing is, casual for me.
Like when that
not
guy
that
said
I'm
to
saying
me-
it's a good thing, but casual racism is everybody does it. No, but
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's right because everybody does it. That's the wrong way to put it. However, there's malicious casual racism, and there's non-malicious casual racism.
Yeah, I guess
suppose
it's affecting your job, and
the
it's just
decision
someone.
comes to
Yeah,
which one counts and who's to.
someone you just got to
rather
laugh at. Like even like I mentioned before was across another wall playing these bikies. One of them goes. Like he saw us like wearing jubbas, jalabiyas, and sold. Goes, where's your flying carpet? Like we had to laugh as well.
Yeah,
You know? All right.
that's
like,
funny.
yeah, it's not like I don't think, but I think some
Or
people.
call centers when people. Do you remember when you call centers and you call whatever your normal battler that's just growing
Yeah.
up, be like Wajid, g'day, this is Wajid calling from wherever, and they'll be like, Roger, finally an Aussie. These bloody Indians keep calling me and trying to sell me stuff.
Yeah.
What, Roger? They're taking all
Yeah,
your
I
jobs.
remember one lady in Sydney. She's talking about a certain area. Yeah, it looks like little Istanbul down there. Like that's all right. And here I was sitting in
And
a I'm in a call center. I'm in a Seoul in a Topi, and like
yeah, I know these Indians are taking over, mate. What do you do?
there's
Right.
Muslims coming from everywhere. So
The point is, what do you like? Are you saying
I don't even know. I don't know what the fight
You're
against
saying-
Islamophobia is. You explain it to me.
What do you mean?
There's campaigns, there's programs, there's speeches being given.
Stop being like okay. Classic example, Borat recently in
Yeah.
Jimmy Fallon.
Mm.
That was just disgusting.
I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
Right.
Is he just doing the Borat thing? Like,
Nah, but you can see like now after 1 year of genocide,
yeah.
you can see the agenda,
Oh, really?
and everybody can see the agenda.
Oh, wow.
So it's actually backfired.
Yeah. I
Because
saw.
he's such a strong Zionist. He's an open, strong Zionist, like he's
Yeah.
full on, right? And then when you look at all his clips, back to the movie The Dictator, all of these different things, you can see how he's been used to channel public opinion. So this whole interview with Jimmy Fallon and like the way this guy laughs, seriously, this host, it's a joke, right?
Oh,
and
whatever,
the
who
way he
cares?
was behaving,
I like creating like
yeah,
that.
the way he was, no, what I mean by that is the fakeness of it. You can see it.
That's people say that, but it's
Right.
probably just him.
No,
Anyway.
bro, you can see it.
Anyway.
Right. And the point is like with this whole Borat character thing, like the comments, it was just obvious, like the audience was laughing,
Yeah.
but you can see some uncomfortable laughter. You could hear it. And
Yeah.
then you're just like, no, you are just a racist Islamophobic prick.
Yeah.
And so something like that, yeah, definitely. And even here, depending on, it needs to be called out. Just like anti-Semitism needs to be
All
called
right,
out. just
someone
like,
I get it in entertainment and news, like let's say, like specific characters that come on, let's say online, and they spew hate towards Islam. That's one thing. In the general society, like the average person, I'm not talking about online. I'm not talking about TV. I'm not
I
talking
think
about comedians.
rather than attacking it as Islamophobia, using it as what works better would be using it as a moment of education. So, okay, and this makes people feel uncomfortable. Like, okay, you just said this. What did you mean by that? Can you repeat that? Do you think that's funny from where I'm standing? Or is that because you look uncomfortable because of the way I look and you don't understand me, so you're trying to deal with that? Yeah. Because if it's that one, I'd be like, yeah, I get it. What is it that you're uncomfortable about? Let's talk about it. Right? But if it's, no, you're just a racist prick. Okay, mate, not having it. And that's what I like about this generation.
Yeah, but I feel like a little bit like the over.
Give me an example. Where is it over?
I don't get it I don't get the Islamophobia discussion. So I get it in media. I get it in but in the average life of most people, that's people just doing their jobs.
The difference is that's because for you and I, or our generation, a lot of these things which we wouldn't even bat an eyelid because we've seen 10 times worse or heard 10 times worse said to us or done to us, or we've copped it in different times throughout our career or personal life or workplace. Yeah. That's just because of our age.
Yeah.
Right? But that's not okay.
Somewhat.
That's because of your age. That's because of your age.
Yourself, mate.
But that's not okay. That's the whole point of this. Yeah. That is not okay.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Was never okay. All right.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, you could have been called into a job interview and the job interview just looked at your name and thing. But it's very hard to I'm saying like that's very hard to pinpoint because you can't pinpoint that part of it. That. But like, someone comes aggressively.
If you think about it, in job interviews, you had to work 10 times harder than the other guy. Or come across 10 times more smiley.
Yeah.
I'm not a threat to you. You will survive the next day.
Yeah.
If I get this job, you will be safe. Like seriously, at times that's what had to happen.
People do change names even.
Well, I don't know that I disagree with that, where people change names or shaved their beards and took hijabs off and all these things that happened. Even at that time, like that was one of the things where I was like, no, I'm going to start growing a beard. Like, this is not right. No, straight up.
Oh.
Because I was like, why? Because anyway, let's not talk about my sins or whatever, as Malana would say. But back then, it wasn't a thing. And I used to make excuses and and then it came to, I was like, man, why are all these people that had beards taking them off? Why are these hijabis taking off the hijabs? That's not right. It wasn't like it is now, but it was still like, it wasn't a full-on beard, but it wasn't a shave twice a day.
Oh, it's one.
Do you know what I mean? Shave every morning. And it wasn't a 5 o'clock shadow. So that's one of the things that actually compelled me to go, no, this is a load of crap, man. That's not right. That was an internal process that I went through because they were always making excuses. And I think back now, like, why was I making all these excuses? And the biggest thing for me is a lack of knowledge of deen. It was an understanding of deen that I thought that I had because I went to the mosque and prayed 5 times a day, sat in a couple of talks. Value of ulama wasn't there. And I think that's a general thing. We think we understand deen because we've read a few books and we know how to pray. But what deen actually is very different to our understanding.
Yeah, that's what we're talking before, just about dua, that our duas are, and this is related to the weakness.
That conversation we had today.
Islamophobia, because I think part of it, not all of it, I'm saying, there's actually genuine Islamophobia and whatever, like they explain about in media and so forth. But I think part of Islamophobia, we have to be careful. We have to separate that there are some tests thrown in life in the form of opposition and people that don't like you and don't like Islam. And that is normal.
And that is a test from Allah.
That is a normal as a test from Allah, because that happened to all prophets, alayhim salam. And the way to treat that is not to seek sympathy from the creation or to be a victim from the creation, but to seek it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your solution to your problems. And the way you call Allah is not some sort of like, okay, here's one call and then I stop. No, to call Allah so much until you see your solution only from Him, nobody else. Like you see, if you want victory, that your heart is overwhelmed with His quality of An-Nasir, like His name An-Nasir is for victory, like the one who gives victory. An-Nasir. Or like Al-Ghalib, the one who dominates. Al-Fat, the one who opens up and gives conquest. Or al-Razaq, the one who provides, whatever it may be, that you call Allah so much that the problem and the enemies and the people becomes so diminished, the need becomes so diminished.
The need to turn
before
towards
Allah. The problem itself becomes so diminished in front of Allah's greatness and Allah's names that it becomes like insignificant. It's like a mosquito, like a fly. It's insignificant and nothing, right? That like your first instinct is to turn to Allah and solve your problem with Allah's names. You deal with the world.
Actual in the dua.
In the dua, the names you call him by his. Allah says in the Quran, to call him by his names. Those names, 99 names. We read there's beautiful books written on it. We're supposed to use them. Allah says, call me by them.
Okay, so this whole situation right now that's going on in Gaza or in Palestine.
Or Gaza, that's a big one. Or any problems with the ummah.
Yeah.
Or even in our personal lives, like issue of rizq. Like let's say our needs for rizq. Like we need a rizq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always. And we need rizq to be made easy for us. Like everyone's complaining about inflation and so forth. But how can inflation and money problems be overwhelm a Muslim who knows that Allah is Razaq? He has certainty Allah is Razaq.
Okay.
How can he be stressed out? That yes, he's in a problem, but it's like he doesn't in his dua, his problem and need and his difficulty does not overwhelm him to the point of that he loses hope, that his problem is bigger than Allah.
So I think that comes back, what you're saying comes back down to we ask from Allah. So, Ya Allah, help us. But we're not asking with the full yaqeen of there's a doubt. There's an element of...
like we should ask Allah,
Ya Allah,
so
please
much.
help us. But it's like, okay, I've got to also do this.
That means there's a problem. There's a dua, it's not done properly.
Okay, it's got to be, Ya Allah, help us to such an extent that that's it, it's done.
It's like you call Allah so much that the whole world becomes nothing. Only Allah.
Even that problem becomes
Allah's
nothing.
problem. The problem becomes nothing, diminished.
By that name.
By the name or by dua in general. That you talk to Allah in dua so much, nothing actually matters. That means you're recognizing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who He is, that He can solve this problem. And this problem there's no mushkil for Allah, there's no difficult for Allah.
So right now with everything that's going on, all of our personal problems or problems, we are making dua, but
we're not doing it properly. I'm not doing it properly.
That frustration is there, or that, not doubt, that's the wrong word to use, that despair is there. That I'm making all this dua, but I need to do all this, but I'm powerless. There's nothing happening. Like
of course we are powerless.
If we look at what's happening, if we look, but we're not understanding.
We are powerless.
We're not understanding.
Allah's not.
I know that's what I'm trying to say. We're not understanding that we're powerless, but Allah is not.
Yeah,
we're at the point.
And if you're asking
as
the
Muslims, we're powerless. It's almost, and Na'udzubillah, it's not. That's what we're saying, but we're powerless, but Allah's not helping us.
Yeah.
Right, but no, Allah is all powerful. So it's about.
But you say that and we say that we just throw it out.
It's lip service.
It's lip service, and we actually. That's why you have to call Him so much until the world melts away, and you get tunnel vision only with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay, so
and I mean tunnel vision in the positive sense.
Yeah. So right now we have frustration. I think Muslims and non-Muslims are at a stage now of helplessness, or that the inability to act because nobody's listening. Protests are happening. Nobody's listening. It's literally the slaughter is going on day by day. Now it's moved to Lebanon as well. Like it's just absolute chaos. And we're screaming out to politicians or people do something. Arab leaders do something. All these people do something. However, and we are making dua, Ya Allah, fix the problem. But I think that dua, Ya Allah, fix the problem is also being linked with through the Arab leaders. Ya Allah, fix the problem through the United Nations. Ya Allah, fix the problem.
Yeah, the problems, the complications, that's a problem, right? The Arab leaders and Moby, wa alaikum salam.
Curious to know who Moby is.
Yeah, I think I know who he is. It's so these are all problems, like permutations of the same problem with the ineffectiveness and so forth. But Allah's not restricted to any of these problems. Okay. And we have to fight through it. But the way to fight through it is not just like it'll be because our people are saying, oh, they tried this, they tried that. Like now we're waiting for the aftermath of this election, right? The council elections. Now we haven't done inshallah in a few weeks we'll do I think it's end of November we'll know what happened.
And
we'll see like how effective or ineffective. Put on silent, please. We'll know, and but like if we are fighting moving forward, with dua and understanding that this is for the long haul and this is the nature of the world. And we'll be, mashallah. If I do this, I get a lecture about it.
I'm trying to switch it off with my phone.
Yeah, just switch it off, put an airplane mode, and just slide down airplane mode. That's it.
No, but because Wajid, I don't know if this you see the question you're posing, because at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I mean, 13 years they went through persecution in Makkah. They were making the efforts and the dua was made, but the results didn't come in. So that was there, but for them.
But the focus was purely on Allah.
Yeah, that's.
I'm saying that's. I don't think for me that's not what we're doing.
And that's what Sheikh Khalid is saying.
We can get distracted by rulers, politicians.
Yeah,
So
it's a distraction.
all the means can distract. I'm not saying don't do those things, but I'm just saying as a mu'min, as a Muslim who's in this prison of this dunya, like your focus has to be akhir, it has to be Allah and akhirah.
So if
you're not that, if you just pay lip service to, as he said, you pay lip service, then we're in trouble. We should be in more trouble because we're not actually like a real mu'min in our behavior and outlook. Even the Islamophobia thing, I think like to make me balance it, if fighting Islamophobia means taking the fight to them with the help of Allah, if you understand, like taking the fight to them confidently and raising our chin and say, yeah, like I'm not taking this, I'm not scared of you. I have Allah on my side and I will fight you. If that's what Islamophobia, dealing with phobia means. If fighting Islamophobia means playing the victim and crying and woe is us, then that I don't want to have anything to do with that. But if it means like, oh, okay, you said some stuff on TV, so I'm going to go and I'm going to be writing letters and I'm going to be talking to politicians and I'm going to be fighting this and I'm going to be doing this with my dua and so, and I'm not going to be scared of you. Like I'm not intimidated. I'm not playing the victim here, but you don't have a right to talk like that. I live in this society, and so you don't have a right to talk to me like that. You don't have the right to respect my prophet. You don't have a right to disrespect my prophet, my deen, my religion, and so forth. If it's done in that confident way, then yeah, we can get that. But but there's a lot of like worries me crying. There's a lot of there is some people. Just the brothers, Rumis, Assalamu alaikum. Just on your earlier discussion, I used to dislike Usman Badr, who would never condemn terrorism on the media, but now I see he was right. Why as Muslims should we condemn when we did nothing? Also, there's a level of Islamophobia, but I think we should be like Malcolm X, not like a victim. But yes, we have changed as a community from being timid. Yeah, that's true. It's a reality.
And educated in our responses.
Yes.
That's very important. Well thought out and educated responses.
We have fantastic.
Don't play the sympathetic card.
Rather than
don't play the sympathetic card. Don't play the
rather than knee-jerk reactions.
Yeah, it makes us look worse. If we have a sook about it or cry, it actually doesn't do.
It makes you more of a victim.
As long as it's done confidently with strength. And say, no, we're not tolerating this nonsense from you. Like that, that should be the tone.
But I think that's what we have now.
It's coming.
In the new generation, that's what we have.
Yeah, in the society where everyone has to be addressed as he or she, in the 2024 society.
All right. Just random left field Irfan.
I don't know where that was going, but you're right.
Yeah. Where were we?
Okay, so Dua's calling on Allah's name. If there were 5 names right now, not if there are, give me 5 names that we should all be waking up and after salat or tahajjud or whatever.
I think the names are many. There are many names.
Give me 5 for this.
So An-Nasir, the helper,
okay,
the aid, the one who supports.
Make it simple,
right?
Yep.
And Al-Fatih, the one who gives conquest and success and opens up. And there are many meanings to these. Depends on what.
An-Nasir, Al-Fatih,
and
you said Qahar before.
Al-Qahar,
the
compeller. There's different translations of these. What else?
Qadir.
Whoever's listening, can you just type this in the comments?
Power. No, they can. It's not going to. No one's going to see it afterwards.
Yeah, they will.
So, but
that's 3. You're giving me 3.
Yeah, and Al-Ghalib, the one who dominates.
Al-Ghalib.
Yeah, so he dominates our enemies and the enemies of the Ummah, and Al-Jabbar. Yeah, this is.
I don't know. Tell me.
Jabbar. Yeah, Jabbar is Jabbar. I had to translate.
How do you translate that?
Anybody has a translation? The one who forces, like he's enforces, like enforces.
Subhanallah.
Yeah. So anyway, all the names, or if you just say, "Oh Allah," or Ismul Azam, the great name of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, which is just Allah. Some say it's just Allah itself, and or Ya Hayy Ya Qayyum. Or the one who's ever living and the Qayyum makes everything else exist, stay in existence, right? So like when you focus these names and the meanings of names and you keep saying them, there is no government, power, human being, enemy
Subhanallah.
that can stand in front of that.
Yeah.
Because you're calling on the one who owns everything, controls everything. So the Muslims should really, we should really double down on this and just keep doing it, like calling Allah subhanahu. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not leave us hanging. It will test us, but we'll have to keep calling. But the way to call him is that this is not something like a Jummah is done for politics. Like, understand, like the du'as should be done, qunut should be done from the bottom of the heart, turning to Allah at the exclusion of everybody else. And that's it. Our efforts are nothing. Allah is the only one who can actually solve this. Like every other problem in our whole life, from big birth till death, and from all aspects.
And Allah can solve this from the ghaib.
Unseen. He's not in need of anything. Like he's not in need of anything and anybody. So when you see these names over and over again, and everything goes into out of focus, the world and the universe and the creation go out of focus.
And only Allah exists.
And the problem is that very diminished in front of the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This problem, the Gaza problem or the Ummah's general problems, or whether it be the Uyghur problem or whether it be these are very small in front of the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So therefore we have to get Allah on our side. If He's on our side, nothing can stop this. This is the something that, it's not that we don't all do all the other efforts, but we just have to be mindful that every step, every work that we do has to be infused with this. You know, so then as a Muslim, I'm not saying Muslims are not doing this, astaghfirullah. It's not to accuse anybody or like
I'm not.
that, but it's just like my own reflection on my own self that it's this is very limited in our own daily life. Like we get overwhelmed with work and we don't think that we should be making dua and ask Allah. We forget that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I mean, we thought dua for if there's upheaval in the family, there's a dua to make your wife and children the coolness of your eyes from the Quran. رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ وَاجْعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Allah, make our spouses our wives and our progeny and we make it for everybody's wives, you know, like you go to the
guys get himself into
and our progeny, the coolness of our eyes, right? This is the dua Mufti Taqi Usmani is mentioning. I mentioned this before as well. I mentioned Jummah, that one alim said that I make this dua before salam because that's the time dua is accepted. So the way Mufti Taqi Usmani, the way he put it in his
before
salam. Yeah, there's many, you can make du'as of Quran there. Any dua you can make. So or the dua for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us, Allahumma kfini bi halalika an haramika wa aghni bi fadlika amman siwak. Oh Allah, suffice
before salam.
Allahumma kfini bi halalika, with your halal against your haram, and enrich me that I don't need anyone except for you. Even the dua tells you, like, you enrich me, enrich me here means I feel self-sufficient, not self-sufficiently. I feel a sufficiency only with you and nobody else, exclusion of everybody else. So even the dua tells you, like, even the rizq, like your debts, that's to do with debts. That's a dua for debts Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us. So, and on and on and on. If we read those, even the dua for sleeping, Allahumma inni aslamtu wajhi ilayka wajjahtu wajhi ilayka wajjahtu dhahri ilayka. Oh Allah, I trust my affairs over to you. Aslamtu nafsi ilayka, my nafs over to you. Like I hand over my nafs over to you. I turn I lean my back or take support my back from you. Only desiring you, only fearing you. Like if you read that dua, it's like a 3-4 lines.
So we don't think of it like that.
That it cuts off from the deception of this world. That this is darul ghurur. It's a thing. So then you look at everybody with this eye. Okay, you look at Trump. Okay, he's a creation of Allah. He cannot benefit or harm. He's nothing. And you say it like as I think, like one of the best way to my Dr. Mutlaq Jasir, I was going through his book this last week, in regards to the greatest thing that helps with waswasa is what? It says she taught us about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that how to deal with waswasa, whispers, right? And whispers come. He's talking about whispers and doubts, right? He's talking about, because mainly the book is written to deal with doubts, the causes of doubt, sources of doubt, so forth. And then he's talking about the beginning of the book, Tiriyaq, it's called the antidote to all these doubts, right?
Yep.
So at the beginning he said the most strongest thing that we taught in Sharia. Which camera? Is it my camera?
Yo, it gets, if you put your hand there.
Really?
Yeah.
What's happening to his camera?
If you put your hand.
Is it too out of focus?
So if you put your hand up there, then it's.
Whose camera? You're not sitting. You're not centered.
I'm not centered.
AF, tell us how to improve it.
Wow.
You interrupted us now. And we got
why don't we get AF to come down if you know what you're doing?
Huh?
you look beautiful, man.
So anyway, what was I saying?
Dr. Mutlaq.
So
Doubts.
he said that two things in doubts. One is waswasa. So the
Don't put
thoughts.
your hand. Don't put your hand.
Oh, it's my hand. Okay.
Put your hand under the table and talk, but that might look wrong.
Yeah. The
Don't move your hands. Sorry.
where was I?
Waswasa.
Yeah. So he said the waswasa is one. Doubtful thoughts come in the form waswasa, whispers.
Yep.
This is very easy and it's not problematic. It's a very normal thing, right? And the other one is comes in actual form of doubts, where the person is leaned into the doubt. That's a problem because that can take
What
him
do
out
you
of
mean by
Islam. Leans into it. Like, do I need to explain English to you? Leans into the doubt. Like he actually accepts the doubt.
Okay.
And so, go to teach this guy translate into English.
You have to translate for
Yeah,
me.
I think you're tired. So,
I'm exhausted. Anyway, no, I'm not.
and then that doubt. So the thing the strongest thing that we thought to deal with it. Yeah, Rumi. Thanks, Rumi. The camera looks great. I know it looks good.
The camera looks good. What about you?
Yeah.
What about Malana?
You don't want to see the full range of the beauty. You know, we have to make it a bit.
It's a lot of range.
So where were we?
Doubts.
Dr.
Dr.
Mutlaq,
Mutlaq.
let's go.
So he said that the strongest thing that when shaitan's whispers comes to say amantu billah, I believe in Allah and His messengers. Amantu billahi wa rusuli. This is that the dua, the words that we thought that you make a firm declaration, because shaitan is weak. His whispers are weak. All he can do is whispers.
So complete the sentence.
So when you affirm with certainty
Yep.
your identity that Allah has given you as a believer in Him and His messengers, it shuts down shaitan. That's how weak he is.
So amantu billahi
Wa rusuli. Wa rusuli.
That's it.
His messages, yeah.
Not what
And you say it from the bottom of your heart and say it, and that just pushes, like shoves him over the like cliff, you know?
Amantu billahi wa rasuli.
Yeah.
Go and type it.
Amantu billahi wa rusuli. Messengers, not rasuli. So anyway, learn the dua. Open a dua book for once, man. Read something. Learn something. I swear, people don't read anymore. You know? The dua, like, you need this dua.
Can you do a TikTok about this?
This was when I was a teenager. I was making wudu.
He was a
once.
nerd.
I was
sorry,
making
you're
wudu, and it was like all these like waswas like going like crazy. Like
About wudu.
No, waswas about like Iman and Islam. It's like just like it was overwhelming. And then this Sudanese brother, he walked up to me, and just random brother. I don't know who he is. I don't even know till now who he is. He just walked him into the wudu area in the mosque, and he said, "The du'as for doubt is this."
Amantu billah.
Yeah, he taught me 2 du'as. That was like 18, and he just walked up and he goes,
Wow.
"This is the du'a," and I was like, I hadn't told.
Without you saying anything.
I haven't told anybody. And this random guy,
Sahib Kashf.
he whatever, man. Like, don't have to make it weird. And he walked up to like such an Indian. Just have to make every part of Islam like weird, you know. Next week on see with the big tasbih, like thick tasbih around his neck, you know. Those goofy Sufis, you know. But anyway,
Similar thing happened to me in my times.
what?
Someone walked up to me and gave me a book, and I was going through some doubts, and
Yeah.
And
that,
what book was that?
was Malana Yunus Patel Saab's book, Tafwiz, The Cure for Depression, and
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So this guy
I
said
had trouble seeing
this
it,
guy.
so I had
Mine was
trouble-
better. My story was better.
I had
But-
trouble seeing. I had trouble seeing with my eyes, and someone gave me "Where's Wally?"
Yeah.
Does
So
that
he
count?
gave, he taught this 2 du'as. Amantu billah wa rusuli.
Yep.
And huwa al-awwal wal-akhir wal-zahir wal-batin wa bikulli shay'in alim. He's the first, he's the last. Zahir is the apparent and the hidden.
You're dropping some
Huwa
pills
bikulli
tonight,
shay'in
brother.
alim, and he's the he's knower of all things. And he just taught me that and just walked away.
Where did he walk
And it's
to?
like
Did he
just-
disappear in a club?
No. He's just around. He's around.
Did you see a flash
You
of
know.
light from
There
the
was a
sky
scene
come
where-
down and
I looked away and then I looked back and I see him running. No. He actually
was he riding a white horse in the wudu area?
Stop interrupting. He taught this dua and subhanallah, it helped me. Like it solved that waswasa. So anyway, this dua, Dr. Mutlaq mentioned right at the start of his book, and it's such a short dua. But the essence of dua is the strong affirmation of iman.
Yeah.
And by verbalizing it, it has such a huge effect on doubts and whispers. Like a person does it. So
Such
when
a simple
coming
solution.
back to the point of calling Allah and focusing on that meaning of those names and the reality of those names, because people are manifesting quote unquote success. You know, what do they do?
yeah.
What do they call it? Like
Affirmations. Write it down and then put it in
like
a cupboard.
that, of like nonsensical stuff.
Do you know how much stuff I put in a cupboard? Still waiting. mate.
Nonsense doing vision boards and all this sort of stuff.
goals.
Like and yes,
Girls.
and something
Goals. I'm like, where's this bloke going?
some things might happen, but like
Yeah.
that's just like you've been testing. You might be failing a test because you think that you have manifested your destiny and
Put
so
it out
forth.
in the universe.
Yeah, and you've
And
manifested
yeah.
this, and it's nonsensical because the universe is controlled.
By Allah.
The universe is controlled by Allah, created by Allah.
Yeah.
Everything in it is given only by Allah. Everything is taken only by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So yeah, the brother Rumi is saying that I remember a teacher taught me a dua. I didn't know what I said as it was in Arabic on my graduation when I got my master's from Melbourne Uni. I had to say that to us. Not Monash. The top premier University of Melbourne. Mashallah barik alayh. Uni looked at the translation. It was Rabbi zidni ilma. They all increased me knowledge.
And that's why Melbourne Uni and not Monash.
Yeah, those old buildings.
What did you get what did you get masters in?
He said I learned that dua when I was 8 years old and had been saying it for 20 years.
Without
yeah.
And then his masters in what, gender studies?
Inshallah not. Maybe he's a top. Rumi's a top.
What's your masters in? Tell us.
Advisor on
I
gender
want to know
studies.
what Rumi's masters in.
Yeah.
Has he told you yet?
I remember I had to give a job recommendation. I kind of regretted it because it was like it's a Muslim, but then like they were doing all the woke stuff, rainbow flags at the bottom of their email. And I only noticed it afterwards. I said, "Oh, come on!" Like,
Yeah, but everyone's doing that.
yeah, no, but it's like
that's
a bit
the
much.
norm now.
It's a bit.
So you're not going to do a job recommendation because of that?
In hindsight, I don't think I should have done it. But anyway,
Really?
if they're promoting,
But there's a
difference
It's just
between
a norm at the bottom of every email.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Don't you have that
put a
at the
little
bottom?
whiskey
don't you
bottle
have
there
that
too,
at-
you know.
They have that at the bottom of your email?
Yeah.
Khalid?
Our room is look behind you. Your rainbow flag. You're sitting on the rainbow flag.
No, it's over there.
Yeah.
By the way,
So,
Khalid, I think we should turn
Someone
the camera
asked the
around.
question regarding who do you think will win the US election, and did you see Trump with Muslim leaders?
What?
There's people have looked at it differently. Like on one side, Muslims are saying we should not be voting for
Oh, yeah.
Harris because they're the genocide party. They're complicit in genocide, so we can't punish them, right? That the other side, and then there's like, okay, so we're not going to vote for them. What's the option? Do we just go with the other?
Jill Stein?
The second, yeah, Jill Stein. This is in the US elections, obviously. The other options go with the Greens in the US,
Or the Trump.
and which is the only outspoken anti-war group, right? So then this is the third party option. So what does the third party do? Yeah, we'll never get elected probably in the next 50 years, right? Probably. But it sends a strong message that our votes are not for free. So you'll have to earn our votes. And you do not take our concern seriously. So it's a long-term game, I guess. It's not a short-term thing that will have any, in the election next month or this month, coming month. It will not have any effect on the actual election. Except that it might allow Trump to win, So he's looking like, I watched a bit of the Joe
He's
Rogan.
looking strong.
On all the podcasts, he's just like
He's looking strong.
smashing all the
But-
podcasts.
Is he?
He's a lot, but the thing is, if you look at him against Harris, he is so much better.
He's like a
In terms of
normalish
he's
person.
talking. He talks normally.
3
He
hours.
talks
Yeah,
like
Biden couldn't put a sentence together.
Yeah.
And he sits in comedians are ruthless and they're very smart people and very childlike.
But he's gives as good as he gets.
Yeah, they said that
And
he
you know-
relieved one of it. He revealed one of his on Joe Rogan his trademark secrets. No, on
Which is?
not on that. On what's the other podcast? Flagrant podcast, where he said like the way he's very like switched on.
He switched on. He just acts dumb.
And-
He's not dumb.
Yeah, and he said that he does this thing called the weave. He bobs he moves around topics intentionally. Someone had explained it to
So
me.
you
I don't
can't
know who,
corner
but
it. So he can't be cornered.
yeah, it's like a very he moves around, jumps from top to,
Yeah.
and you see Joe Rogan when he's interviewing him, he said like, can we like come back to the he's a good interviewer because he knows that he's gone somewhere else and he brings him back to on topic.
Have you seen Harris's interviews? They don't let her do more than like a 5-minute interview.
Yeah. She's not a real person, as someone said.
No,
She's like a program, she's like
so
program.
strange.
Yeah. She didn't come through a democratic process. She was selected and as opposed to being voted in through the
So-
caucus. Yeah.
Do we do we vote for Trump just to see how good he gets?
Well,
How
there is a
crazy
view that was expressed by some people online, some
right.
Muslims. They said we should vote for the most harmful for the US because if you harm them, it harms Israel. and that stops the Western or the American hegemony, and hence it weakens America. A lot of Muslims got upset with this Muslim. So, because, they in America, like, it's like making dua against America. Well, there's like 5 million, 7 million Muslims there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, we'll have to weigh up the pros and cons. We should make dua against them or not. But I remember once I was with my brother, we went up to the cave of Hira in Jabal Nur in Makkah Mukarramah. And we were sitting there, and this like Egyptian guy. Yeah, so this Egyptian guy arrives. He's been climbing up the mountain, he's sweating, he's like huffing and puffing, and he walks into the Ghar Hira. Oh Allah, destroy America. Allah dammir America. And everybody said is Ameen, Ameen, Ameen.
After all that.
Yeah, that's the thing that came out of his heart. And he's like, because they've caused so much pain.
But imagine how much bad dua is against these people.
Yeah.
Like dua against people.
Yeah, they've earned it because they've killed millions. That's the thing. It's not like unearned. It's earned, like it's earned curses of the ummah. Right?
But it's not the average American. It's the leadership.
Yeah.
Which the average American has no say in, if you really look at it carefully.
Did you see that Christian, I think it was an evangelist.
Yeah.
Did you see that clip, what he said?
Yeah.
He challenged, he goes, basically, our politicians are pedophiles who have videos, Mossad's a video of them probably raping kids. For
that was
Epstein.
harsh.
And he said, huh?
That was harsh.
What? No, I'm quoting what he's saying. And
did he say that? Use the word?
Yes, something along those lines, because there are videos of them probably. Yeah. Hence the impotence of their current crisis. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and even if you look at in Australia, you've got Albo, who was...
He's a weird character.
Who he helped establish Friends of Palestine.
Yeah. Was
vocal in it, and now it's like he's a robot.
Yeah, and did you see what CEO of Qantas said? There's a book. You know what he said? 22 requests from Albo were to upgrade him, for free, I think, or something like that.
No,
something like. I just read it today. Like it's in the news.
To upgrade him to first class.
Yeah, Australian PM accused of seeking upgrades from Qantas boss. This is the Labor union guy, right? He's supposed to be working for the blue collar,
Because if I could get a free upgrade,
Alan Joyce,
if I can get a free upgrade, I'm getting a free upgrade.
A new book by Australian journalist Joe Aston claims Albanese made several calls to ex-CEO Alan Joyce and received upgrades on 22 flights, taking between 2009 and 2019.
Oh my God.
Albanese, who previously served as federal transport minister, also criticised former opposition party staff at Aston of trying to sell a book. In his book, The Chairman's Lounge, inside story of how Qantas sold us out. Aston reporters cite Qantas insiders as saying Albanese spoke to Joyce about his personal travel plans. Yeah.
If I could get a free upgrade, I'm getting a free upgrade, brother.
Yeah.
There's a difference. It makes a difference.
Personal travel plan.
Oh, yeah.
A week off.
Yeah, anyway. So, strange
guy. Have you ever flown business class?
No, never. I don't think so.
I got upgraded once.
I think I did one short flight.
Yeah, I did a short flight. I got upgraded from Sydney to Melbourne. It was either Sydney to Melbourne or Adelaide to Melbourne. It changed my life. It was a normal flight. You sit at the front. The leg room is different. The way they talk. It was actually a 1 hour flight. That's what they was like. Oh damn it! I got upgraded on a 1 hour flight.
Yeah,
it's different.
Yeah.
The way they massage your head. I mean, that didn't happen, but it's different. And you can see, I've seen people that have flown business class or been upgraded. They can't go. It's hard for them to go back.
Yeah, I can imagine. All right, keep making
if you're
dua.
Listening, Alan.
Keep making dua. Inshallah, we'll call it a night. Keep making dua.
So 5 names again?
No, Nasir, Allah helper. And have a look, read a book. There's books on 99 names of Allah. Inshallah. Make lots of dua and focus in the dua and keep calling Allah subhanahu by his name. Allah says call by his names. So, you find a name suitable to the circumstance and call him until whatever problem, the problem is so small that the problem in your mind and heart is not bigger than the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which it is not. It's just we are manifesting the reality, not manifesting weird personal vision boards and whatnot. Anyway,
says the guy that had the guy to come and tell him to remove doubts and then disappeared on a horse into the sky.
Yeah.
Was it not Wajid who told you that?
It was actually me. I was wearing my black jubba.
Yeah.
He just didn't want to say it.
Yeah.
Tall, dark, and handsome. That's me.
The election's over. The council elections are over.
Yes.
So we'll pick at it. You're going overseas next week.
Inshallah.
I think next week we'll call it. We'll have the day off. It's a public holiday, Tuesday.
Oh wow, this guy's gone to another
Family
level.
time.
Yeah, we're not having classes, so yeah, exactly. So just relax a bit next Tuesday, inshallah, and
Inshallah.
we'll come back in 2 weeks, inshallah. Bidnillah. Tuesday's a very important Melbourne holiday.
What is it?
The Melbourne Cup.
Oh, okay.
The race that stops the nation.
The race that stops a nation.
Yeah, so we'll
Every
be.
little country town, kids bet. They do.
The gambling thing's out of control
It
on the
is out of
podcast.
control.
It's crazy. They're betting on everything. You can bet on everything.
You can literally bet on what color underwear Trump's going to be wearing tomorrow
Yeah.
and who's going to pick it up.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's crazy. You can actually call them betting companies. Say, I want to place a bet whether Sheikh Khalid steps out of the mosque with his right foot or left foot, and they'll say, "We'll take the bet."
Yeah.
As long as you can.
This is
prove it.
making random stuff. This is making the whole world into gamblers. One of the places just watch out for, if you ever take your kids to like Time Zone and those game places, do not, there's a gambling part of it,
Which one?
Some of the games have like money, like you put money in and like there's a money, like one is
Would you call that claw
that's gambling.
where you might get it, you
Yeah.
might not get it?
That's gambling.
Because it's chance. It's a game of chance.
Yeah. The games of chance have many in there. Like probably about 30% of the games are games of chance. Others like where there's some skill, throwing the basketball, shooting something. That's different. That's a skill.
Yeah, but that one where you're going to get the whether you pick up the teddy bear or not, or
There's all these other ones at the
Yeah,
front. They're
yeah,
usually
yeah.
in the middle at the front. It's just basically training the next generation of gamblers, and it's really sickening. It's actually,
it is.
Australia's gone so deep into, at the moment, especially the Irish company. What's that Irish company? The famous one? The advertising.
Ladbrokes.
No, there's another one. It's everywhere, like Shacks, and everybody's like advertising for it.
Yeah, Ladbrokes.
Is it? No, it's another one. But they're just everywhere. Like it's disgusting. I remember, like, just so people understand, like the beginning of pokies and all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff. I remember when Crown Casino was built, there was like famous people from Melbourne that moved to Adelaide because it's such a like boring dead place. Like there's no fun there. No, but they moved from Melbourne
Don't knock Adelaide,
Melbourne to Adelaide because of they said this will ruin our society.
Is that right?
Yeah. I remember at that time there was like protests, like actors. I can't remember who it was, but this is in the 90s. I remember it was like in the news. They said I refuse to leave. They were protesting against the Crown Casino being built.
Now
You
it's
know,
like an institution.
It's a curse. It's a curse on the
now
city.
It's treated like an institution.
Yeah. It's a curse on the city, but it's like, of course, Allah hates it. So, but anyway, all right. Allah make it easy for the ummah, inshallah, and just engage in dua and do your efforts and all the other supporting things that we're doing. But along with that, understand that la taysmu rahmata, do not lose hope in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa
I
ta'ala.
got to make those duas for this
Inshallah.
builder. It's still my head in at the moment. But
All right.
Story.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi
Assalamu
wa barakatuh.
alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah khair for joining. Assalamu alaikum.
You're welcome. Oh, you're talking to
Yeah,
everybody.